This Saturday at 11:11 p.m., Archangel Michael will seal the door, and you'll know who was never meant to return. This Saturday at 11:11 p.m., not a second before, not a moment delayed, the atmosphere will change. Heaven will press its weight upon the earth. A divine stillness will rise like a veil between the seen and the unseen. It is the appointed time where silence meets separation, where the final line will be drawn in the spirit. This hour is not random. It is sacred. It had been marked by heaven for a purpose far beyond human understanding. It is a divine threshold, and Archangel Michael is standing at its edge. Heaven has sounded a quiet alarm. Not one that startles, but one that stills. It is the kind of alert that only those tuned in spiritually will hear. And as this appointed hour approaches, the Archangel of fire and finality, Michael, heaven's chief enforcer, will not arrive with soft whispers or uncertain presence. No, he comes with sword drawn, with wings wide, with eyes that see through the veil of false connection. He is not sent to negotiate. He is not sent to comfort what must be released. He is sent to seal. But what is this door that will close? Why is it being sealed? And who, child of God, was never meant to return? This message is not for the curious. It is not for those who play lightly with spiritual matters. No, this message is sealed for the restless ones, the torn hearts, the soul still holding on. You know who you are. You've sensed it. You've heard the silence that got louder. You felt the ache of someone drifting, disappearing, returning, only to confuse you again. This message is for those entangled in invisible soul ties, in silent battles with what no longer fits your spirit. You are not crazy. You are not weak. You are not imagining the separation. It is divine. This is the moment where you are told, not asked, to be still. No interference. No begging. No last-minute intercession to reverse what heaven has ordered. You will not delay what God has designed. Do not chase shadows. Do not reach back into emotional tombs. The holy stillness required before 11:11 demands your silence, your submission, your surrender. What lingers in indecision must not follow you past this gate. Archangel Michael stands ready, not to take instruction from you, but to enforce instruction over you. Heaven is not asking for your vote. It is executing your freedom. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. The sword is already drawn. He is here, Archangel Michael, not as a gentle messenger, but as heaven's enforcer. His wings stretch from horizon to horizon, blaze with the light of judgment and deliverance. This is no ordinary visitation. This is no passive passing. This is divine deployment. Michael has not come to observe. He has come to seal. You have until 11:11 p.m. this Saturday to make peace with the unseen things that have been pulling at your destiny. This is your final hour of clarity before the door closes, not with a slam, but with a supernatural silence so loud it will shake your spirit. There will be no pleading, no negotiating, no turning back. What follows you past that line must be ordained, and what is not must be severed. Listen, the signs have already begun. Have you noticed? The dreams have turned strange. Familiar faces appear and disappear. Conversations seem to end before they begin. Your heart feels weighty with sadness that has no obvious name. This is not just emotion. It is spiritual movement. A separation is happening beneath the surface, and it is not by your choice. It is divine. Some of you have heard nothing from the person who once claimed to never leave. Some of you feel a heaviness when you try to pray for them. Some of you sense you're being watched in the spirit, not by them, but by heaven, waiting to see if you will let them go. The silence is not absence. It is God's intervention. Do not mistake this warning for fear. This is not fear. This is your freedom trying to be born. There is a holy disconnection happening. And if you're listening to this message, if your heart is beating differently right now, if your eyes are starting to well up, if you feel something ancient breaking inside you, you are the one this was sealed for. This isn't for everyone. This is for the chosen who know the pain of all this letting go, who know the torment of soul ties too stubborn to die on their own. Archangel Michael comes not to harm but to cut with accuracy. His sword does not miss. He does not sever love. He severs confusion. He does not remove what's ordained. He removes what's out of season but still sitting at your table. You are not being punished. You are being preserved. This hour, this Saturday at 11:11 p.m., is a prophetic line in time. It is not symbolic. It is not metaphorical. It is literal. Heaven will mark it. Angels will witness it. And your name, yes, your name, will be weighed against your willingness to release what never belonged beyond this point. You have been praying for clarity. You have been begging for peace. You have been aching for closure. Now heaven answers, not with explanation, but with execution. This is where the door closes, and not all who knocked will be welcomed back again. Let your tears fall, but let your hand off the latch. You are not responsible for reopening doors that God has finally come to seal. There is a divine line in the sand, and Archangel Michael is standing at its edge with fire in his eyes. The door will close whether you are ready or not. So heaven is pleading, make peace before it shuts. Make peace with who didn't return your call. Make peace with who said they'd stay and then vanished. Make peace with who keeps reappearing to test if you're still weak. Make peace with the apology that will never come, and the explanation that wouldn't make sense even if it did. Your healing is not waiting on their return. Your deliverance is not attached to their recognition. Your assignment is too sacred to delay for someone who couldn't decide. So now, not later, ask yourself, what won't follow me after 11:11? Is it that name you keep checking on? Is it that conversation you replay like a loop in your mind? Is it the guilt, the memory, the last text you read over and over again? Heaven says, decide now. Declare it clean. Cut it free. You have been chosen not to break. You have been chosen to close. And once it's sealed, do not reopen it. Type I am chosen in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 666 is now surrounding you. They left but you never stopped checking the door. They returned but something was off. The connection felt colder. Their words no longer made your heart stir. And then, they vanished again. Like a ghost threading through your life, just when you were learning to breathe without them. And you kept asking yourself, was this love? Was it fate? Was this divine timing or deception in disguise? Child of heaven, listen. This cycle is not human indecision. This is spiritual interference. A door was once closed by divine instruction, but something unnatural, something not of God, reopened it. A haunting voice. Its sudden reappearance after months of silence. A confusing dream of them reaching for you. These are not coincidences. They are intrusions. You are not broken. You are under surveillance by the Spirit. Your soul has been in a tug-of-war, between memory and mission, between what you feel and what you know. And now, the question hangs heavier than ever. Who is this person really? Were they love or were they a test disguised as affection? The confusion you've been feeling, the waking up with heaviness, the inability to delete their message, the way your spirit jolts when their name shows up again, that is not just your heart. That is spiritual entanglement. They were never meant to return. But something opened the door anyway. And you didn't know what to do because it looked like answered prayer. But it was a distraction wearing the perfume of destiny. And now you must ask yourself, were they ever sent by God, or were they permitted to expose what still had access to your heart? Because the real danger is not their presence. The real danger is what their presence reveals about your gates, about what you still haven't sealed. They come to test, not to stay. And every time you open the door, you're not letting love in, you're letting alignment out. This is why heaven grieves when you answer that message. This is why your peace runs from you the moment you entertain them again. You're not chasing a person. You're entertaining an echo. Some of you are being haunted by a name, a memory, a version of you that no longer exists. And it hurts deeply, because what was once sacred has now become a snare. They knew how to reach your heart, but they never learned how to honor your anointing. And now, their return feels less like comfort and more like confusion. Child, don't ask if they miss you. Ask yourself why you feel so spiritually vulnerable when they reappear. Don't ask if they've changed. Ask yourself why your discernment shrinks when they speak. Don't ask if they're coming back. Ask heaven if they were ever meant to return. And if the sky is silent, that silence is your answer. If your peace disappears when they come around, that dissonance is your discernment. You are being unhooked. You are being uncloaked. You are being untied from every emotional cord that has pretended to be covenant. So now, as 11:11 approaches, understand this. Some doors reopened because the enemy needed to delay you just long enough to miss the next blessing. But heaven has intervened. And this time, the sealing will be final. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $10. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Don't forget to subscribe for prophetic insight, spiritual clarity, and weekly updates that keep your spirit aligned. Type I am chosen in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 777 is now activated. This is not about them. This was never about them. This is spiritual warfare, and your heart hath been the battlefield. That person who returned with soft eyes and subtle apologies, they weren't sent to stay. They were sent to sabotage the next version of you. You were growing. You were healing. You were finally seeing yourself outside the lens of abandonment. And that's when they reappear just in time to question everything. But here is heaven's truth. The enemy didn't want you back in love. The enemy wanted you back in loops. Because the war right now is not about people. It is about timing. It is about access. It is about destiny. If the enemy can't destroy your calling, it will attempt to delay it through a text, a dream, a memory, through someone who once carried your heart but was never capable of carrying your future. This door at 11:11 p.m. is not just a moment of closure. It is a spiritual verdict. And the verdict is based on how well you release what delays your rise. You are not being punished for loving them. You are not being shamed for missing them. You are being tested for promotion. Heaven is watching not how you react, but how you let go. Will you let them ghost you again? Will you chase after unfinished stories? Will you edit your growth to comfort someone who never planned to meet your future? God is not cruel. God is protective. Heaven has been monitoring the access points in your spirit, waiting to see which ones were still open. That late night thought about them, it was a test. That accidental message, it was a test. That emotional tug when you heard your song, it was a test. The real war was over your attention. And attention, beloved, is the currency of the spirit realm. So today, lift your eyes from the phone screen. Silence the what-ifs. Close the door with holy fear. Not because they were evil, but because they are expired. Yes, they may have changed. But their change is not your assignment. Yes, they may miss you. But your soul is not an airport they can land in every time they feel alone. Yes, you once loved them. But the next version of you is not married to the last version of them. This is your defining line. Will you let go for real? Or will you revisit what was never meant to be eternal? Archangel Michael stands ready. The sword of severance gleams in his hand. And heaven is saying this: you are on trial for elevation. The courtroom is sacred, and the verdict will echo into your destiny. So do not answer their message tonight. Do not open their story. Do not reread the thread. Do not say one last goodbye. That was the test, and heaven already wrote your name in fire. Now act like it, because after this door is sealed, they may come back again. But you will no longer be there to answer. You will have risen. Type "I am ready" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1444 has now taken authority over your future. The hour is coming. The weight of it can already be felt in the atmosphere, a holy tension, a spiritual tightening. It is no longer a warning. It is now a countdown. And heaven declares, at 11:11 p.m. this Saturday, the door will seal. Not might, not maybe, will. Whatever is still inside your gates by that hour will remain. Whatever is unspoken will echo. Whatever is still attached will either be honored or judged. You must understand, this is not a metaphor. This is not a gentle nudge from the Spirit. This is a divine enforcement, a spiritual deadline ordained by the courts of heaven. There will be no negotiation at 11:12. There will be no second chance to re-choose what follows you into the next chapter. The weight of destiny will slam the door shut, not to harm you, but to save you from one more round of delay, one more season of confusion, one more year lost to someone who never knew how to steward your soul. But do not be surprised if, in the final hours before the sealing, something or someone tries to return. You may receive a final text, a strange message laced with nostalgia. You may get a phone call, hear a song, or even bump into them unexpectedly. You may feel them again in your dreams, feel their name rise in your chest, or sense an invisible hand pulling your heart backward. Don't mistake this final movement for a sign to engage. It is not reconciliation. It is temptation. The enemy always sends one last invitation before the gate closes, hoping you'll give it 5 more minutes, hoping you'll delay the door just long enough to remain stuck another year. Heaven's command is clear. Do not engage unless God says so. Not unless you feel the peace of heaven descend like a cloud. Not unless your spirit confirms it, not your flesh. Not unless there is divine clarity, not emotional longing. This is the hour of unexplainable pressure, the kind that makes your heart race without reason, that fills your chest with a weight you can't name. Don't ignore it. That's not anxiety. That's heaven applying its hand over your timeline. The Spirit is ushering you into a sacred decision, and the clock has begun ticking. Some of you feel inexplicably sad. Some of you feel tired even though you slept. Some of you are dreaming of people you haven't spoken to in years. These are spiritual symptoms of divine extraction. You're not being undone. You're being reformatted. Heaven is removing residue from old seasons, and it's painful, but it's proof of your readiness. Don't be deceived by a text at 11:08. Don't be trapped by a memory at 11:10. Don't break your own ceiling because you couldn't bear the weight of your own silence. Child, this is where destinies are determined. This is where generational curses lose their grip. This is where soul ties dissolve in fire. This is where your name is moved from the list of the tested to the list of the trusted. So when the clock strikes 11:11 p.m., let it strike through every unspoken apology, every unfinished conversation, every emotional entanglement that kept you circling a gate heaven closed long ago. Don't peek back. Don't open the door again. Let it seal, even if it hurts. Because once it closes, peace will follow. Type "I am aligned" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1717 is now in motion. Now listen closely, for heaven does not simply warn. It also protects. This is not a call to fight, scream, or explain. This is a divine invitation to become still. And in your stillness, the war will be won. Heaven is not asking for your reaction. It is asking for your restraint. Archangel Michael has drawn his sword, but you must put down yours. This is no longer your battle to explain. No longer your burden to carry. No longer your story to keep open. Heaven is saying, be still, and let us do the closing. Do not force closure. Don't chase it. Don't manufacture a final conversation. Heaven will orchestrate it. You will not need to yell. You will not need to type paragraphs. You will not need to clarify why you disappeared. Silence, in this moment, is not absence. Silence is your shield. What you do not say will become your covering. What you do not respond to will become your sword. What you leave unanswered will become heaven's platform to speak on your behalf. So now, let a holy fast begin, a fast of speech, a fast of interference, a fast from explanation. Step away from the comments. Step away from the text thread. Step away from the back and forth that heaven never asked you to have. This is the hour of sacred withdrawal, a moment where clarity is birthed in quietness. When you go silent, heaven gets loud. When you step back, God steps in. Let these words become your armor. I trust the closing. I release with faith. I don't need to be understood. I am not bound to what doesn't see me. I am free even without their permission. Write them down. Whisper them when the urge hits to check on them. Repeat them when your flesh wants one more word. These declarations are not just mantras. They are spiritual boundaries in motion. You are not required to carry the weight of someone else's growth. You are not assigned to wait on someone who can't recognize your light. You are not sentenced to keep healing in the same environment that wounded you. Heaven wants you unreachable during this hour, not as punishment, but as protection. If you speak too soon, you'll give the enemy access to your progress. If you explain too much, you'll delay your own deliverance. If you reopen the door with your words, Michael cannot seal it with his sword. So let your words be few. Let your presence be sacred. Let your clarity speak louder than any justification. This is how you close with dignity. This is how you rise without needing revenge. This is how you heal without needing a reply. You are not doing nothing. You are doing everything by doing myth. You are obeying divine order. And heaven will back your obedience with peace that passes all understanding. Don't be afraid of the silence. Don't be afraid if they don't understand. Don't be afraid if it ends without closure. The closure is the seal, not the conversation. Heaven never closes what you still need. Heaven only closes what can't follow you any further. Trust it. Rest in it. Release into it. This is divine extraction, not emotional punishment. This is protection, not rejection. You are not losing them. You are finding yourself. Type "I am protected" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing Code 1010 is now guarding your silence. You are no longer who they left. Let that settle deep in your soul. Let it echo through every chamber of your heart. Let it remind you that even though the breaking nearly destroyed you, you are not broken anymore. The grief, the ache, the long nights of wondering what went wrong, they served a holy purpose. They crushed the false identity. They stripped off the dependency. And now, child of the Most High, you are not the same. The person they ghosted no longer exists. The one who would have waited for them to choose. The one who would have settled for pieces of communication. The one who would have watered dead flowers just to prove their loyalty. That version of you has been buried in sacred soil. And from that grave, something divine has risen. Your wings have healed. Your roots have stretched deeper into the earth of identity. Your light is blinding now, not because you fought harder, but because you finally let go. This moment, this hour, this sealing that is coming at 11:11 p.m. is not a punishment. It is a coronation. You are being marked not for loss but for leadership. You are being sealed not in sorrow but in sanctification. This is not a funeral. This is your transfiguration. The sealed door is your confirmation that the cycle has ended. It's heaven's way of saying, you passed the test. And now, what was once a weakness has become your wisdom. What used to trigger you now trains you. What used to haunt you now highlights how far you've come. You are too grown now. Too anointed now. Too aligned now. To revisit pain that has dressed itself in nostalgia. They may remember the old you. They may come back expecting to find that wounded heart. But all they'll meet now is a gate sealed by fire. Let the door close with dignity. Not with spite. Not with sarcasm. Not with petty proof of your growth. But with silent strength that speaks louder than revenge ever could. This isn't just about them. This is about you. Your next level requires clean hands. Your calling demands cleared space. Your future insists on unapologetic alignment. So rise from the ashes. Walk away from the two who it always was. Look in the mirror and say it until you believe it. I am no longer who they left. You are no longer bound to the story that began with their exit. Now begins the story of your emergence. This shift is not subtle, it is supernatural. You'll start to notice it in small things. The music you once listened to with them no longer stirs you. The old texts you saved feel like a stranger wrote them. The photos you once couldn't delete now carry no weight. Why? Because your spirit has moved on and now your emotions are catching up. Celebrate that. Celebrate your evolution. Celebrate the fact that the thing you thought you'd never get over became the soil where your wings grew. Let this be your anthem. I choose peace over patterns. I choose purpose over presence. I choose transformation over trauma. You are not just surviving this. You are mastering it. And the ones who once confused you will not even recognize the authority you now carry. Their access is revoked. Not because you hate them, but because heaven upgraded you beyond them. To let the door close with your head held high. Let it seal while your hands are lifted in praise. Let it finish without needing one last word. Because you, chosen one, have shifted, and you are rising. Type I am transformed in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1919 is now sealing your new identity. You didn't fail. You didn't fall. You didn't fumble the assignment. What you went through was not rejection. It was refinement. And now heaven is pulling back the curtain to reveal what this season was truly about. This trial you endured, the coming and going, the confusion, the silence, the endless waiting, it wasn't just random heartbreak. It was the final soul-tie test. It was the last exam before elevation. And now, heaven is handing back the results. You passed. But hear this. They were seasonal, not eternal. They were permitted, not promised. They were necessary for your growth, but not meant for your future. Heaven waited until now, this exact hour, this divine countdown to 11:11 p.m., to make that clear to you. Because only now are you spiritually mature enough to hear the truth without chasing the past. Only now are you grounded enough to understand that delay is not denial, it is deliverance. You were not abandoned. You were rescued by delay. You were shielded from what you kept praying to keep. And the moment you thought you were being forgotten, you were actually being hidden. Hidden from manipulation. Hidden from false connection. Hidden from an outcome that would have robbed you of your calling. Heaven broke the loop not to leave you empty, but to clear the runway for what is truly aligned. And child, once this door seals, blessings will no longer be blocked. What couldn't reach you before, peace, favor, provision, divine connections, it was held back not because you weren't ready, but because your circle wasn't cleansed. God will not pour fresh oil into broken wineskins. So heaven waited until you released the wrong ones, and now everything begins to flow. You'll feel it immediately after the sealing. The heaviness will lift. The tears will slow. The urge to chase them will die. And something holy will bloom in its place, a knowing. A sacred knowing that you didn't lose. You were protected. And that who left wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Your name, yes, your name, is on the scroll of those who endured well. You are not just loved by heaven. You are trusted by heaven. You were not removed from love. You were repositioned for true love. The kind that doesn't confuse, doesn't disappear, doesn't compete with your purpose. The kind that will find you once the door has been sealed. And when it comes, when what's meant for you finally arrives, you will understand why the delay was mercy, why the silence was divine, why their absence was heaven's answer, not punishment. So lift your hands. Speak the prophecy over your life. I am no longer held by what left. I am ready for what was always mine. I am trusted with the next dimension of favor, because the angels have recorded it. Michael has enforced it. The Spirit has confirmed it. You are not on pause. You are on schedule. If this message resonates and you feel led to support, consider giving a super thanks of up to $5. Your support helps us continue creating messages that empower, heal, and deliver clarity for the chosen. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the Support Here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And be sure to subscribe for weekly words of revelation, divine timing alerts, and spiritual empowerment tailor-made for your calling. Type I am released in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 2323 is now unlocking the scroll with your name. Stand up. Yes, you. Right now. Not later. Not when you feel stronger. Not when you're finally over them. Now. Stand up in your spirit. Stand up in your posture. Stand up in your authority. This moment, this very second, is not just the closing of a door. It is the activation of destiny. And heaven is waiting for your yes. No more thinking. No more second guessing. No more apologizing for what God confirmed over you. The season of spiritual hesitation ends now. And how does it end? It ends with your declaration. Speak it with boldness, with fire, with unwavering clarity. I step forward clean. I honor closed doors. I no longer shrink to fit what cannot hold me. This isn't just a closing. It's a crowning. The sword that Michael draws isn't just for separation. It is for inauguration. With every soul tie broken, a throne is revealed. With every toxic return denied, a mantle descends. The more you release what was never meant to return, the more heaven releases what has been divinely delayed until now. Hyman demands action. Not just spiritual agreement, but physical obedience. This is the hour to clear the space. Delete the thread. Burn the note. Return the item they left behind. Take back the energy. Reclaim the time. Let your actions speak louder than your prayers. You've asked for peace, now choose it. You've prayed for clarity, now walk in it. You've cried for destiny, now activate it. Because what's coming next isn't waiting for you to be halfway healed. It's waiting for you to be fully emptied. And that can only happen when you stop entertaining what you've already outgrown. You're not too late. You're not too broken. But you are out of time to play small. Heaven has cleared the runway. The door is sealing. And this is your launch point. There is divine fire gathering under your feet. Do you feel it? That's not emotion. That's not anxiety. That's not fear. That's the sound of the heavens preparing to thrust you forward. You are being activated, not just into a new season, but into a new identity. One where your words carry weight, where your discernment is sharp, where your presence shifts rooms and your silence becomes sacred strategy. Say this with me, if your spirit bears witness. I release every attachment, visible or hidden, that cannot follow me into divine alignment. I refuse to rehearse conversations that heaven has already silenced. I am unavailable to confusion and closed to what was not chosen. These aren't just words. They are spiritual contracts. With every phrase, heaven is stamping your surrender with favor. With every declaration, angels are moving pieces into place. And with every act of obedience, doors that were locked are opening, not to the past, but to purpose. You've been asking for confirmation. This is it. You've been waiting for a sign. This is it. You've been wondering if the pain was for a reason. Decide here's the reason. You were never abandoned. You were being summoned. Your name is echoing through dimensions right now. Heaven has placed a seal on your spirit. And the moment you say yes, not with lip service, but with lifestyle, everything begins to shift. Not one tear was wasted. Not one heartbreak was in vain. It all led you here, to the edge of breakthrough, to the gate of divine re-entry, to the moment where the old version of you lays down and the called version stands up. The scroll is open, the angels are recording, and the sword is drawn. Type I activate my destiny in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 3003 is now unlocked over your path. Something is happening that your eyes cannot see. Something is moving that your ears cannot hear. A silent transaction is underway, not in the natural, but in the spirit realm. And if you could see it, child of God, you would fall to your knees in reverent awe. As you release what was never meant to return, heaven trades. Heaven never takes without returning better. Heaven never closes without opening higher. And in this moment of holy separation, there is a divine exchange unfolding, sacred, unseen, and irreversible. What left with them is returning without them. What they carried, heaven has reclaimed. And now, the portion, the power, the peace you thought had died with their departure is being sent back to you, without the trauma attached. You are not being emptied. You are being refilled. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. This silence, this aching void, it is not emptiness. It is space being cleared for divine fullness. Michael has written your name in fire, and no demon will cross that line. The contracts are breaking. The soul ties are dissolving. And what once kept you tangled is now being torn away by angels on assignment. You may feel restless right now. You may feel a strange mix of sadness and peace. That is not confusion. That is the echo of heaven rearranging your life. While you rest, angels war. While you weep, heaven writes new orders. While you let go, God is handing you the keys to something that was always yours, but had to be delayed until you were ready to receive it without corruption. Do you understand the weight of what's happening? This isn't about heartbreak. This isn't about closure. This is about a heavenly restoration that defies human logic. What was lost is not gone. It was preserved. What you cried over wasn't denied. It was hidden until your hands were empty enough to hold it. The divine exchange is silent, but it is irreversible. You won't be able to explain why you suddenly have peace, why the anxiety lifts, why your energy returns, why the very thought of them no longer owns your joy. It won't make sense to your mind because it was orchestrated in realms beyond it. This is the reward for your obedience. For every moment you didn't respond to the bait. For every time you wanted to return, but chose restraint. For every night you cried but didn't call. Heaven saw. And now, heaven repays. Receive it. Declare it. Own it. I reclaim what was stolen in silence. I welcome back what left in confusion, now with clarity. I stand in the aftermath of obedience and receive my inheritance. As you lie in your bed tonight, you may feel it begin. A sense of calm rushing in like a wave. A sudden stillness wrapping around you like a blanket. That is the Spirit administering your return. That is the divine transaction finalizing. And with it comes peace, provision, power. Loving you lost is gone. It was only rerouted to divine hands. Let the exchange complete its work. Don't run back. Don't reopen the door. Don't argue with your elevation. Accept the blessing. Receive the return. Because while you sleep, they will remember what they lost. But while you sleep, you will receive what you never thought would come back. And when you rise, you will not rise empty. You will rise full. Type I receive the exchange in the comments if this message has entered your spirit. Blessing code 2442 is now transferring what was once delayed. The scales are not just tipping. They are being balanced by fire. What they did not honor will now be honored. What they took lightly, heaven is taking seriously. What you begged to be valued, the very thing they walked away from, is now being brought into divine remembrance. And child of God, they will remember. They will remember your prayers. They will remember your patience. They will remember the way you stayed present while they chose absence. You gave your heart when they were still undecided. You carried their name in intercession even while they ghosted you. You stayed when it hurt. You forgave when they didn't ask. And still, they left, not because you weren't worthy, but because they couldn't recognize what God was building inside of you. Now the reversal begins. Heaven is turning the wheel, and where you were once the one reaching out, you will now be the one watched from a distance. Where you were once waiting on a reply, you will now be the one unreachable by design. What you used to chase will now chase you, not because of arrogance, but because divine justice hath been rendered. Do you feel it shifting? The wind of spiritual reversal is already blowing. What was last will be made first. What was hidden will be seen. What was mocked will be magnified. This is not vengeance, it is vindication. Heaven does not retaliate in flesh. Heaven restores in glory. And everything they said you wouldn't become, you will become in full view of their regret. They will remember, and they will feel it. This isn't about bitterness. This is about balance. God is showing you now that your silence was not weakness. It was a courtroom. And while you said nothing, heaven was speaking. Every unanswered message, every tear you cried into your pillow, every time you walked away from the argument instead of defending yourself, all of it has been entered as testimony in the courts of the Most High. This is the season where the gavel drops. You will wake up with joy and not know why. You will feel laughter rise and not even remember the pain. You will receive unexpected favor, unsolicited opportunities, unexplainable peace, and it will not be random. It will be restoration for what you silently endured. The price was heavy, the pain was holy, and now comes the recompense. Yes, they will feel the loss, but you will feel the lift. They will question what they walked away from. You will walk fully in what they thought they could handle. This is the divine reversal. The one who begged will now deny. The one who chased peace will now choose distance. The one who longed for reconciliation will now guard their elevation. And when they return, and some will, you will look at them with love but not longing. You will feel compassion, but no longer connection. You will hear their voice and feel no pull. Because what you once needed for healing, you now only recognize as history. Say this aloud and let it seal. I am no longer available to old patterns dressed in new performances. I do not chase what is beneath the mantle God placed on me. I am no longer haunted by the memory of what couldn't stay. The courtroom has ruled. The scales are balanced. The fire has purified your name. Now rise with the evidence of what it cost you, and the strength of what it gave you. Type I am justified in the comments if this message has confirmed your release. Blessing code 8181 is now defending your elevation. If this message stirred your spirit, and you feel led to sow back into this work, consider sending a super chat, super sticker, or super thanks. Even a gift of $20 helps us bring more prophetic clarity and spiritual guidance into the lives of others. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And make sure to subscribe for continued prophetic words, Holy Spirit strategies, and divine timing alerts directly for your journey. Let the door seal. Let it close without explanation. Let it shut without hesitation. Let it lock itself from the inside of your spirit, not as a sign of sorrow, but as a banner of your obedience. This door, this chapter, this once open wound is now a testimony in motion. And at exactly 11:11 p.m. this Saturday, the heavens will seal what your spirit has released. This is not just a moment in time. This is a divine intersection between your past and your promise. A holy timestamp stamped by the hand of God. No alarms, low thunder. Just a stillness, a supernatural stillness that marks the ending of what was and the beginning of who you've become. May your peace now be louder than their return. May your silence speak heaven's judgment. May your quiet posture become the echo of your authority. You did not fail. You did not fall behind. You did not forfeit your promise. You endured. You obeyed. You released. And now, you are sealed. No longer available to false starts. No longer waiting on maybe. No longer trying to explain your worth. You are seen by the Most High, covered by His angel armies, and sent into the next dimension of your calling with fire in your bones and favor on your back. Let your name no longer be tied to confusion. Let your space no longer host instability. Let your heart no longer mourn what never deserved permanent residence. Child of God, this is your final instruction. Walk on. Do not turn back. Do not reopen the door. Do not wait at gates that heaven has already shut. The sealing is sacred. It is dual. It is irreversible. It does not need a crowd to validate it. It does not need applause to affirm it. Your healing doesn't require witnesses. The angels saw it. The Spirit confirmed it. And God Himself is standing at the threshold saying, "It is done. You are chosen." And what is chosen must often walk alone for a while before it walks in overflow. But soon, very soon, the path that once felt empty will become full with divine encounters, purposeful relationships, and supernatural provision. You've been faithful with the test. Now comes the transfer. Declare this over your life right now. The door is shut. I am chosen. I rise. The past has no passport into my future. I am marked, sealed, and sent by heaven itself. And now, beloved, breathe. Let the final tear fall, then wipe your face. You are not the one who stayed too long. You are the one who trusted just enough to walk away when God said move. This is your reward, not in material things, though they will come, but in the restoration of your true identity. No longer entangled, no longer questioning, no longer waiting. The door is sealed, and so are you. Type "I am sealed" in the comments if this final word sits in your spirit. Blessing code 5555 is now wrapped around your destiny.